All right, good afternoon, everyone. Up until now, we've been talking about basic relaxer services, the products to use, the types of applications that we can do with basic relaxer services. Does anyone remember what the basic applications are?
Are you talking about the four basic ones?
Yeah.
The four basic ones are the virgin, retouch, curl diffusion, and zona or partial.
Good job. Yes. Okay, does anyone remember the two types of products that we can use to achieve these?
Sodium and thio.
Yeah, good job. Perfect. That's what we call them, right? There's sodium hydroxide and ammonium thioglycolate or glycolic, but we do say sodium or thio for just like a short nickname kind of a thing. So yeah, that's great. So today we're going to talk about something that I was writing texture and I just totally spelled that wrong. Okay, so today we're going to talk about using a thio product, but more of a advanced technique. This is one, it's called curl reformation, or yeah, curl reformation. Sometimes like some of the trade names out there, someone might call it a wave nouveau. There is one more name. Oh gosh, see, it's ran away. I'll think of it. But I'm going to show you a video on what it's about. What it entails is actually relaxing the hair first and then going back and recurling it with like a larger curl. Larger curl than what the client has naturally. This is an option for some people who still want curl, but they don't want it as tight as they have naturally. So it looks good when it's done. So what I'm going to do is just pull up a video here. So bear with me for a second on this, on the actual procedure, or actually about the products and how to do it first, and then we'll watch the procedure video, and then I will show you how to do it. All right, now let me share my screen. And here we go.
Many clients with tightly curled hair prefer the look and feel of looser curls, but do not opt for a straightened style. The Curl Reformation Service reforms tightly curled hair into more defined, manageable curls. First, the natural curl is reduced using an ammonium thioglycolate product called a curl rearranger. The process for this part of the Curl Reformation Service is very much like a relaxer. After rinsing, the hair is wrapped on perm rods using the desired tool diameter and wrapping pattern, much like a perm wrap. Then, a product called a curl booster is applied to the hair on the rods. Finally, after this solution has processed and been rinsed, the hair is neutralized using a rebonding solution to fix the hair into its new curl or wave pattern. The client who requests a curl reformation service is usually sure that this is the service he or she really wants. However, if this client's hair has been previously relaxed, you will need to make sure that the relaxer product used was an ammonium thioglycolate-based product. Hair that has been treated with a sodium hydroxide-based relaxer cannot have this service performed on it since the two chemicals are not compatible. The steps that are performed within a curl reformation service are: section, apply curl rearranger, smooth, section and wrap, apply curl booster, and neutralize. The hair is sectioned to organize and control the lengths during the application. For the application of the curl rearranger, the hair can be sectioned into 4 or 5 sections, just like in a relaxer service. It is essential to wear protective gloves while working with the chemicals involved in a curl reformation service. While wrapping, gloves are only necessary if curl booster has been applied to the hair prior to wrapping. Some designers choose to wear gloves throughout the service. This part of the curl reformation service is performed with an ammonium thioglycolate-based product as described in Chapter 4, A Designer's Approach to Basic Relaxing. In a virgin application, the rearranger is applied to the mid-strand or cold shaft first, and then to the base and the ends. In a retouch application, the rearranger is only applied to the new growth area without overlapping onto hair that has been previously treated. An applicator brush is recommended to apply the product, usually to both sides of the hair strand, to ensure even distribution and penetration. The back of a comb is used to smooth the hair for this portion of the curl reformation service, just as in a relaxer service. A virgin application is smoothed from base to ends. Only the new growth is smoothed in a retouch application with special care taken not to overlap product onto previously treated hair. Since the hair will now be wrapped to create a new curl formation, the hair must be sectioned according to the desired wrapping pattern. Sectioning will be based on the wrapping pattern that you choose to work with. Since the curl has just been reduced, remember that the hair is in a fragile state and must be treated gently. Regardless of the wrapping pattern that is chosen for this portion of the curl reformation service, rods are usually wrapped using 1 diameter bases and half-off base control. Again, remember that the hair is in a delicate state and should be manipulated carefully as you wrap and secure each tool. Picks or stabilizers can be positioned as needed while wrapping, and tool position and stability should be checked before proceeding to the next application step. The next step of the curl reformation service is the application of curl booster. To ensure saturation, the curl booster is applied to the top and bottom of each rod. Well-experienced designers sometimes choose to apply the curl booster section by section prior to wrapping. This method requires great manual dexterity in order to wrap the hair quick enough. It is best to follow the manufacturer's instructions for processing and rinsing the curl booster. Generally, neutralizing is done while the hair is still wrapped on the perm rods. The process is very similar to neutralizing a perm. Again, it is best to follow the manufacturer's instructions for timing and rinsing of the neutralizer.
Okay, so what we have is, get this back. Is we have our relaxer product. This particular one is called Wave by Design. This is a thio relaxer. It smells like ammonia. And this is what we're going to apply to the mid shaft first, and then go back and apply it to the ends if it's a virgin application and the scalp. Okay. And we're going to shampoo first, because remember it's a thio, so the hair has to be shampooed first. We're going to apply this and process it. Once that's processed, we're gonna go ahead and rinse it off. Now, we are gonna keep our gloves on while we wrap the perm because of the fact that we have our wave booster here. Now, this is called a permanent wave booster. This particular designer calls it moisture wrap, but it is a wave booster. This is also known as a reducer, okay, as a curl reducer because it's taking it away. And then this is known as like a curl reform is the other, what this is called when we go to add more curl to it. What we're doing with this is you can apply it to the hair after you've rinsed and only rinsed the relaxer off. You can apply this to the hair and wrap it. What it's starting to do is process the hair. So if someone's hair is very like almost resistant feeling or, you know, kind of big, thick and coarse, I might put this on first while I wrap the hair and then add a little bit more after I get it all wrapped just for the processing time. If not, then what I would do is just wait till I get it wrapped. Say their hair's a little fine, a little bit more fragile. I would wrap the hair first on the perm rods and then I would apply this. Do my test curls like every 5 minutes, just keep checking them, make sure that, you know, they're not over processing, and then rinse, and then you rinse this. After you rinse it, you top water it really, really, really good. You want to make sure that when you touch those rods with your fingers that you don't come away with, you know, a lot of moisture on your fingers. You just want to make sure that you're just blotting that off. Once you get it blotted and it's really not dripping, you know, just like barely damp. And if it seems like it's just not going to get all the moisture out of it, you can place them underneath one of those hooded dryers that they set underneath for a few minutes just to make sure that the hair is not like a drippy wet or it doesn't have a lot of moisture in it. Because remember, if it maintains the moisture, it's going to dilute the solution and then you'll get an uneven result. So we want to make sure that we're having it all on. So then we have our neutralizer. And we just apply this to every rod again with the neutralizer. And this one says 5 minutes. So at the end of 5 minutes, you can do one of two things. You can either rinse this completely out with the rods still in the hair and then take the rods down, or you can take the rods out and then rinse the hair. It's up to you. Okay, so the book says if you want firmer curls that you leave the rods in while you rinse it. And if you don't want firmer curls, then you take them out and you rinse it. It's one of those kind of things to me. I feel that the neutralizer has processed it, so I don't know if there's much of a difference. I know it depends on the hair to me, is if I rinse it out or if I take the rods out. If someone has finer hair, it seems like it might be a little weaker or, you know, a little more fragile, I'll rinse it first and then take the rods out. But if someone has, you know, that healthy, nice hair, then I'll go ahead and just take the rods out. So that's what we say though. So that's how you do it. Is there any questions?
So it's basically just like a perm?
Yeah.
But like, yeah?
Yeah, what we're doing is we're reducing or removing the client's natural curl if it's really tight, and then we're just like re-perming it with a larger rod. So yeah, it's a double step process. So I mean, it does take a while. You know, on a regular perm, you're sitting there for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe more, depending on the length of your hair. But with this, you know, you're probably looking at 3 to 4 hours because you have to go through 2 processes. That's 3 chemicals that you're putting on their hair. And then you're going through, you know, 2 processes, one of relaxing, then you're turning around and perming it again. So you'll be there for a while, you know, and then of course you'll be making some money because, you know, that's not going to be a cheap service, but yeah, they'll be there for a while. And then a lot of times when people get this type of service done, they want their hair trimmed. I'm going to say that like 99% of all clients that get a chemical service, whether it's a perm or relaxer, a color, or, you know, anything else, get a trim because it's time to get your hair done, right? It's time to get your hair done. You need to get a trim to get those ends off, those dead ends off. So most people get a trim. As far as styling products go, you know, you might put some styling products in. After I finish with this type of service, I wouldn't like blow dry their hair and flat iron it or anything like that, because, you know, they want the curl in their hair, but I would definitely, you know, put some product, some setting type of a product in there, maybe a mousse or a gel or a foam or something, you know, to keep that style up with it. Is there any more questions?
Would it work for all types of hair, like wavy, curly, straight, or just curly?
I mean, a perm itself, if you're using just the two solutions without relaxing at first, that pretty much works for all types of hair. But this particular procedure works for people who have a tightly curled hair and they want a looser curl. Okay, that's why we're removing their natural curl first and then we're recurling it. So that's how these work. They're more for people that want a looser curl than what their natural curl really is. Like a bigger curl, you know, instead of a little tiny one, they want a big one.
So you normally would do this in one sitting, like you wouldn't break it up just for the sake of the hair, because it's a lot on the hair, right?
It is a little bit harder on the hair, but I mean, it's a chemical. So before we start, of course, we're going to make sure that the hair can take it. You know, we're going to make sure we do our thorough consultation and test strands if necessary to make sure the hair is going to be able to handle these chemicals. But once we put the relaxer portion on, that's breaking down those bonds in the hair. We can't let them like go home and come back the next day and finish it because those bonds are broken. So we need to add that solution and finish it and reharden those bonds back. So maybe like in a few days, you know, because you don't want to really shampoo the hair for at least 48 hours after a service like this, maybe even 72, depending on what the manufacturer says. So when they get done with this service, you might have them come back maybe in a week, and then you can, you know, give them a deep conditioning treatment if they need it, maybe trim a little bit more if they need it, you know, just to double check and make sure that their hair is going to be in the best condition that it could possibly be. You know, and you might think about that with all chemicals, because, you know, sometimes week goes by, you know, and they've shampooed it a couple times at home and all that, and they might find, I know I do, like I always find like little piece over here that I'm just like, what the heck, where did that even come from? Because that wasn't there for a whole week, and then all of a sudden, boom, this piece of hair comes out of nowhere, and I'm just like, where did this come from? And so, you know, a lot of times I'll get some shears out and chop, which isn't a very good idea. I should not be ever cut my own hair, I'll just say that. But or I'll go to somebody, you know, here, and I'll be like, hey, can you just get this right here? And they'll be like, where did that come from? I don't know, it just shows up. So, you know, sometimes, you know, once in a while that happens, especially with like me. But I know it happens with my mom all the time too. So, you know, there are a couple people out there that kind of thing happens to. So you can just tell them, hey, you know, come on back in about a week, we'll check it out. Or just tell your client, hey, do you have any questions, concerns, comments? You know, go ahead and give me a call or text me or whatever you're using, you know, to get in touch with them. Snapchat me your hair, you know, whatever it is. And then they can come through and look at all of the, scared me. But that way, at least you're in contact with your client. She's waving at you.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so is there any more questions? No? Okay. So I'm gonna get some stuff here and go over like the application. So, you know, before when we were doing applications on the relaxers, we were doing like a 5-parting, right? We're showing you the 5-parting and how to do the top, and the videos show you the 5 partings and all that. I'm gonna show you just a little bit of a different application today with 4 partings instead of 5. I'm also gonna show you a contour wrap, which is one of the perm wraps that we didn't show, like, right? We did in the actual perming itself. We did the 9-block, we did the bricklay, we did the spiral, the piggyback, those loop rods. So today I'm gonna show you a contour wrap, which it kind of just does what it says, it contours the head. In the morning when I did it, where did she go? In the morning when I did it, this is kind of like the finished We just dried it and I combed it out real quick. I put this conditioner in her hair. Smells really good. I want to find out just which one it was back there because I just grabbed a bottle. I'm going to go back and look at it. So I think I might want to buy it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the video up and show you the video of what we're going to do today. So let me get that.
Not all clients with tightly curled hair want to wear a straight hairstyle. The Curl Reformation Service is a great option to offer clients who simply want more defined and manageable curls. The client who prefers this service to a straightening service will depend on you to create the desired texture while safeguarding the hair's integrity. This Curl Reformation Service will be performed on a uniformly layered form. The contour pattern is wrapped using the same diameter tool throughout and varying tool lengths as needed. A center rectangle moves back off the face with sections on either side that follow the contours of the head. The side sections are wrapped horizontally. The finished curl reformation shows a repetition of curl texture with movement away from the face. The art shows the sectioning and partings used to create the contour wrapping pattern with two sections on either side of a central rectangle. In the section adjacent to the center rectangle, indirect partings from multiple points of origin are used, incorporating diagonal forward and horizontal partings following the contours of the head. The remaining side sections are wrapped using horizontal partings. 1 diameter half-off base control will be used throughout the exercise. Follow the procedures for a virgin thio relaxer prior to neutralizing. Distribute the hair back off the face. Start at the front hairline and use the length of the tool to determine the width of the center rectangle. Use a tail comb to section. Measure and section the back of the rectangle. Use a shorter tool to measure and adapt the shape to be narrower in the nape. Begin wrapping the shape at the front hairline. Measure a 1 diameter horizontal base and project the hair at 90 degrees to achieve half-off base control. Position an end paper using the bookend technique and wrap with the overlap technique to position the rod half-off base. Hold the rod securely, fasten the band, and secure with a stabilizer or pick temporarily positioned toward the face. Work to the crown, continuing to use the overlap technique with half-off base control. Wrap with consistent tension and position each rod on top of the lower parting. Secure rods with a stabilizer or picks in the wrapping direction for control. As you work over the curves of the crown area, maintain 90-degree projection from the center of each base to achieve consistent half-off base control. Use shorter tools to adapt as the rectangle becomes narrower in the nape. Work through the remainder of the rectangle, positioning each tool half off base. Secure the last rods of the rectangle with a stabilizer or picks. Move to one side of the rectangle. Use the length of the tool to determine the width of the section. To follow the contours of the head, indirect partings from multiple points of origin will be used. Diagonal forward partings of the front hairline will gradually become horizontal as you work through the shape. Use the length of the tool to measure the section adjacent to the center rectangle. Begin at the front hairline, positioning the rod diagonally and section with the tail comb. Position the rod horizontally to measure the back of the shape. Use longer and shorter tools as needed. Begin wrapping at the front hairline using diagonal forward partings. Use the overlap technique, projecting each parting 90 degrees from the center of its base to achieve half-off base control. Position each rod half-off base in parallel to the bottom parting. Continue working toward the back of the shape. Take partings and position tools to follow the contour of the head. Change to horizontal partings and tool positions as the shape contours the head. Adapt the length of the tool to the size of the section. Position stabilizers or picks to secure as you work toward the nape hairline. Wrap the remaining shape on this side using horizontal partings and the overlap technique. Project 90 degrees from the center of each parting to achieve half-off base control. Adapt the tool length to accommodate the hairline. Position a stabilizer or picks to secure. On the opposite side, use the same technique to section and wrap the section adjacent to the center rectangle. Use the overlap technique in half-off base control, adapting the partings and tool length to the shape. Then wrap the remaining section using horizontal partings. Project at 90 degrees to achieve consistent half-off base control. Adapt the length of the tools to accommodate the hairline. Place cotton along the hairline and saturate the hair with curl booster. Process and neutralize according to manufacturer's instructions. The completed curl reformation creates soft, manageable curls with a repetition of curl diameter for greater style and versatility.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so I was working on this. I kind of got her parted out a little bit. I'm gonna section a little bit more here. So I've already spoken with her. She came in and I know how she wants her hair done. And I draped her. You see that drape I have on there? Yeah, okay. I got her all draped up with my towels. I've got my protective cream around my hairline. Got my sectioning all down here almost. And I'm about ready to start my application. So this is a virgin application. She has absolutely no color on her hair. She has no previous chemicals on her hair. They've all been cut out after her last haircut. I found out during my consultation. So I'm ready to proceed with a virgin relaxer. So does anyone remember where we start on these relaxers? Like what section of the head that we start on. Okay, we always start in the back because that's where the hair's the curliest. Okay, and our application procedure is going to be 1/2 inch off the scalp up to 1 inch from the ends. So what I have are my gloves now because I'm getting ready to touch my chemical. And I'm just using shaving cream. I'm not really using chemical. Okay. So as I start at the top up here, I'll put this down just a little bit. It's kind of tall. Okay. I want to make sure. Oh yeah, it was tall. I didn't get my sectioning very good. It's too tall. But I'm starting on the back right. It's where I always start. So that's where I'm going to start. And when I lift this up, remember if I hold it between my fingers like this and put my pinky on the scalp, if I start at about the top of my pinky and bring this from the top of my pinky up to where my fingers are at the ends, I have about 1/2 inch off the scalp to 1 inch from the ends. And I'll just lay that over. This section that I'm taking across is approximately 1/4 of an inch. All right. If you want to do this side during your application too, you can do that. Just make sure that you're staying within the same 1/2 inch. So as I'm on the scalp, I'm laying my brush flat on the scalp and I'm just coming across like that, sectioning it out. So coming across, pulling this up, the top of the brush here, I'm pinching this and sort of lifting it up and then holding it with my fingers up the scalp. Across. Remember, this is going to process in a maximum time of about 25 minutes. So I need to be quick on this. So that means you got to move, which means you got to practice to get your speed up. So, we've divided it into 4 sections. I could divide it into 3 if I felt that I could control the hair. Because the whole purpose of, dividing this hair and sectioning it out is so that we can control what we're working with. So if I felt like I needed to add more sections, I would. If I felt like I needed less sections, I could do that too. When you get down to the bottom, remember it's really easy to get your sections too big because you're like, oh yeah, I'm almost done with this section, so you're happy. But we want to make sure that we don't do that. We want to try to keep our application as neat and clean as possible because it's hair now. Remember, these bonds are going to be broken down. It's going to be in that fragile state. So we need to keep control of the hair and be careful with what we're doing so that we're not damaging the hair any further by ruffling it up or not combing it correctly, not holding it correctly. Just checking my application, making sure I got it going through to both sides. Okay, so once I get one back section done, I'm gonna come to the next back section. I forgot I had 2 clips in there. I was like, why isn't this hair moving? As this section gets a little bit too wide for me to pick up because that other one was narrow, I can just divide it into 2, just make sure I'm going across in the same spot. And then pull it down, make sure you have both sides of the strand thoroughly saturated. So now with the front with just 4 sections, what I'm going to do is come back in from the top and going at a diagonal, I'm gonna come across like this. So I'm gonna come in and pick this up, do the same thing, and I'm gonna lay it back across. So I'm picking this up on a diagonal, just like you would when you did the little bit on the sides, but this way I'm not touching the client's face. And these are a little bit larger sections, so you might have to divide them in 2. So you might have to do like the front half first, and then come back to this section and do the back half. Usually by the time you get down past this recession area here, you're just on the horizontal parting. But just make sure that it does not go into the client's face. Make sure that it just gets saturated. Okay, so once you have the whole head done, then you're gonna come back to where you started. And we're gonna go just to the scalp. And what I'm gonna do now is show you how you can go across a little bit. So we're gonna go to the scalp, and we're just gonna come all the way across this section. Just apply it to the scalp. come down here, do like half the head. You might have to do it in thirds, depending on what you can reach and what you can't reach, or what you can hold in your hand and what you can't. But you could apply it this way too, if the hair is the correct length and allows you to do this type of sectioning. This is just an alternative. Notice I'm still covering all the hair. I'm still doing the mid-strand first and the scalp next and the ends last, but I'm just doing it in an alternative method, going horizontally across the head, which is what I was doing before, but now I'm doing one section instead of two. Just working my way. So once I get down to the bottom, and I'm gonna take larger sections than I should because I'm demoing. Once we get down here, we're gonna pull all this back down. And then we're gonna go around to the front and we're gonna do the exact same procedure. But now what we wanna do is smooth this out. So for my smoothing technique, I wanna come back in with the back of my comb. Use the spine of it, and just smooth this out all the way and lay it over. Remember when you're smoothing that you have to use the correct amount of tension all the way around the head. You know, you don't want it to be uneven, because if it is, then your results are going to be uneven. They're not going to be as smooth. Okay, so once we finish with all of our smoothing, we want to definitely do a check. Well, we want to do a check after we do the first application. So when we just get finished with the mid strands, we want to come back in and we want to check that. Remember, we just want to put that indentation in, see how fast it pops out. Once we get finished with that, we can go back and apply it to the scalp. When we come back to where we started again, we want to do another test and start your timing. You want to start timing, you know, right when you start putting this application on, until you get done with the first all the way around the head. So once you start applying to the mid strand, that's when you want to start your timing. Once you finish the whole head, you want to see how much time it's taking you from when you've started, and then you start timing again from the scalp. So if this takes you, 10 minutes to apply to the whole head, you go, okay, I got 10 minutes to get it on the scalp. 10 minutes all the way around on the scalp, you've got your 20 minutes. You're probably about done. You might want to smooth out a little bit more, and then it should be processed and ready to go by then. And then we can just rinse it out. Once we rinse it out, we're gonna wrap it back up, and I'm gonna show you how to do that right when we come back. So it's 2:50, or do we have any questions on this? This is pretty much the same thing we've been doing for the last 3 days, right? Did you guys catch on?
Is this just for virgin hair?
Yes, this is for virgin hair.
Okay.
Did you catch on that the application was like the exact same? Mid-strand, then scalp, and then ends, like on every one that we do for virgin hair for relaxing. So it's the same technique. So
Okay.
2:55 right now, 2:56. So let's come back about 3:12 because I need a couple extra minutes today. So let's come back about 3:12 because I got to wash this off and everything. And then I will meet you guys back here about that time. So have a great break. Okay, so we're back. And so now what we're gonna do is wrap our perm. And I'm gonna show you the contour wrap. So we're gonna use our tools. I'm using some fairly large ones here just because, you know, we're pretended like she had really tightly curled hair. And so now I'm using some fairly large rods here just to give us a little bit more larger curl. I'm gonna alternate these so it's be more of what we like a custom wrap instead of just a plain old regular wrap, and do a little customizing here. So what I'm going to do now is just use this tool here on the front as my measuring. Remember, I want to go to like the bottom of these dots. I don't know if you can see those dots, but I want to go to the bottom of the dots here as I'm going to be sectioning my section here. So I'm going to start at the top. Just bring this all the way back to the crown area. Now remember, if I just rinsed this product off of her hair, this relaxer product, I would need to be wearing gloves for this because of the fact that there's still like a residue of that product in her hair. Even though I rinsed it off with water, I did not shampoo it out. And we don't want to shampoo it because we're going to be adding the curl booster when we're done. So just like always, I always want to wrap my first one forward. I just feel like that's too much hair. So where's my measurement again? Put this on the hairline. Yeah, it probably was. And come across here to make sure that I get the right amount of hair. I'm not putting my comb down. And I'm going to be wrapping this one forward just because just about every person I've ever seen in my life, if I've looked at their hair, the front goes forward. So I'm going to wrap them forward. But remember, for your client, you can always ask them if they want the first one to go forward or back. And this contour wrap. Okay, then if I need to measure again, I'm going to place this here right next to that one, come along here, and just pick that up. I've been doing this for so long that I really don't measure it because I can kind of, you know, look at it and eyeball it, but there's every once in a while that I do have to measure just to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Because I always feel like I get off on my amount of hair, like, oh, there's more hair over here on this side than there is on that side. How did that happen? And then of course, it's because I didn't measure. So that's the time when I'm not too good at eyeballing it. So I'm just gonna roll this down the rectangle and, you know, just keep parting it as I go all the way down the center back. So this shouldn't take me too long to wrap this because they're fairly large rods. Remember, the first time you try this, it's not going to be that easy. You feel very awkward, like you're all thumbs or something. With all these different things in your hand at one time, especially if you're not used to it. So that was a little loose. I'm just going to tighten my band up so I don't feel like it's flying away. That one seems loose too. I do have this a little taller than what I would really normally have it if I was working on a person, just for the camera so you guys can see. So we're getting done with the top. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, see, I put way too much hair in that one. I can just tell by the way it's laying on the head that that's not pretty. You want them to lay. What was that?
No, I was gonna say something. I didn't want to cut you off, but it's like it seems like the thinner the hair you get, it's so much easier to curl and it comes out better.
The bigger the piece of hair or the thinner?
The thinner, like how you're doing it, like row by row, it comes out better.
Yeah, it does. You also want to make sure that they're not so thin though that they're sitting on top of each other, because we want them to just lay like right next to each other. You know, when you get a bunch of hair in there and you roll it up, when it hits the scalp, it doesn't lay flat, it like bounces up. And that's not going to give you a good curl. So you're right, thinner is better. So I'm on this one now. Sometimes I forget what color I'm on. Okay, I've got 5 of you that don't have your camera turned on. So Aubrey, Dolly, Melissa, Alicia, Christian, turn your cameras on, please. But I couldn't see, huh? Because I'm doing this. Now see, that's what I get for talking to you guys. I just put 2 of the same color in. Now, sometimes in the crown area too, you know, people have those whorls or cowlicks back there, and it separates their hair. You know, one side kind of lay flat, the other one not. So a lot of times when people get a perm, they want you to put a smaller rod right there in that area, just so it helps it not separate as fast. Same thing down in the nape area where the hair gets a little bit shorter. Sometimes people want it a little bit tighter back there also, just because it grows out so fast and it just seems like it's straight when the rest of it still has curl. All right, so now I'm getting over here. Let me put them up a little bit taller. In the back, and I'm just sectioning down as I go. I'm combing this hair out of my way. And then in the nape, it's not as wide as the crest up here, which is the widest part of your head. So your sections do become a little bit more narrow. That's where we're going to put the short rods in, but as soon as I get there, I will show you. Okay, so down here, this is where I'm going to start putting the short ones in. I just think it's going to fit the head a little bit more, so I won't feel like my rods are kind of sitting on top of each other. And what I mean by short is this is long and this is short. So it's just a little bit shorter in length. And this down here. I was just touching those because I thought they were sitting kind of funny. So I was just checking them, but I'm just going to push them back into place. And I didn't need to readjust the bands or re-roll them at all because they just moved a little bit and now they look fine. Because his hair is shorter, I'm putting all the purple ones in at the bottom. And then here is the finished back. So now we come to the side over here. Okay, I'm gonna do my left side first because one side's always easier to do than the other, and the left side is my hardest. So I'm gonna do that one first. What I wanna do when I put these in is I want them to kind of go at an angle to contour this head. So when I get back to about right here, I could just go horizontally straight down. Now in doing that, I've got to figure out how much hair I'm going to put in it, how much of an angle I'm going to take. I'm going to tell you the hardest part is getting the same amount of parting from one side to the next. That's the hardest part, is taking the same diagonal on the other side, for me anyway. And I think it is for a lot of people, because we're just looking at it like, oh, I went this way on that side, now I got to go the opposite way, and it's backwards to us. So it feels kind of strange. I also know that when I get to right past the recession line here, above the ear, all this has to be wrapped down. So I just have this little area right here that I have to do on this diagonal. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to look at the hairline. I'm going to look at where it starts. So it starts about the third rod that I put in. If I lay this rod across the hair like this, it's about 3 to 4 rods. So if I go to the hairline on the second rod and I come back here and place this in where I want it, I'm about 1, 2, 3, almost 4 rods, about 2 and 3.5 rods back from that second one to here. No, I guess that is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's just about 4 rods. So I'm going to come into the beginning of this orange one, be putting my rod where I want it on my diagonal, and coming in and doing my parting. So now when I go to place this in, I don't know why I just put all that stuff down at 90 degrees. Sometimes too, where you stand makes a difference, because you can hold the hair better standing kind of behind it than you can in front of it. Right now I'm like right with it, so I'm not in the way of the camera, and it's kind of a little different here. Okay, so now I have that one going. So now I'm going to come down to my next one, place this here at the hairline, and how many more rods back do I have from the one I just put in? So I'm at the hairline, I'm here at this one, so I've got 2 more rod placements, so 2 is where I'm going to move back at this one. So I'm at the end here, so I'm going to go 1, 2 to here, and bring that down to the hairline. I need to get a little bit more though, it wasn't enough hair. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to place this one in. Oops. Slippery. So now I'm just about behind the ear, so I know that that's going to have to go into that section in the front. So I can come back here to this one and bring this down here. Then I'm pretty much even with the rest of these rods, so I can just come in and do some horizontal partings. So it's all about the angles that you're taking this at. So you got to think about the partings, the angles, the diagonals, the lines, all that good stuff. And I never took geometry. So now this section here will stay in the front, and I'll continue to bring this down. I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. Let me finish this spot here. I have turns I can reach. So now I'm getting down towards the nape because on the sides, it is a little bit more narrow than it is in the back. So from here on out, I'm just going to continue to use the purple. I'm going to do one more long purple, and then I'll probably end up be switching to the short purples. Or orchid, or a lilac, or whatever this manufacturer calls this color. I'll call it purple. So see, now it's not as wide as the other section. So this is where I'm going to start using the short rods. And then you saw the type of curls that these produce before I went and washed it out. Okay, so now what I have is this little section right here in the front to wrap. So that's really easy. I just find where my end is, which is about here, and just come across on a horizontal, wrap it. Now this is cut where it's a little bit longer going towards the front. So what I'm gonna do so I can get all my ends in correctly is use two papers instead of one. So place the one on the bottom, place the one on the top, slightly protruding over the edge at the bottom. And then roll it up so I've made sure I've got all my hair in here. And then one more purple here, and this side will be done. Okay, so there's the side of the finished contour wrap on this side. Now, when I get to this side, I already know I did the 4 over there, so I'm gonna come in on my diagonal, 1, 2, 3, and come up to the 4 here. And then I have a diagonal parting from the front. I just think this side's easier, maybe because I'm right-handed, maybe because I'm starting from the front of the head instead of the back of the head. I don't know, but I just think this is easier over here. So I've got one here. it's too loose. So, stock. Go. And I'm gonna, now when I come here, I'm not coming from the hairline. Remember, I gotta come back a little bit farther so that I can get this in the front section here. So doing that off. My side's going over there. And I'll start using the short ones. Any questions?
Have you had your lunch yet?
Yes. Thanks for asking.
Hungry.
I didn't have.
Welcome.
All right, two more down here and then I'll be ready to move to my other side. How much time do I have? Oh, tons of time. Okay. So now that I'm back to my, ouch, that pops. Oh, I did it twice. That hurts when that thing pops. Okay, so now that I'm to the front section here, I can go ahead and just do the same thing like I did on the other side. Now, I might end up with an extra rod over here. And you know what, that's okay. You can have one extra. So if I have 3 on that one side, oh, and I almost made it without dropping a comb. I'll probably end up with 4 over here on this side. And that's okay. But if I had 3 on one side and like 7 on the other side, I would start double checking or double guessing what I was doing. All right, sanitize or put that comb in my solo container, sanitize my hands, grab another comb out of my clean container, come back over and start to work. Almost made it through the whole day without dropping a comb. That's the first one I dropped today. Okay. Yeah, I am gonna have 4 on this side, and that's okay. I'm off by 1. Remember, heads aren't even, so it's okay if you have one that's 1 is fine. But like I said, if you have more than 1, you better double check somewhere. see how that falls out there? This is where I'm gonna use my cushion wrap because I didn't catch it in that other one either. So that's where you just take a paper, place it right over the top, and just roll it up with the rest of the hair, and I've just cushioned that hair right in. And then last one. I think another reason why I was having some problems with that is that this is a little dry. I should probably spray it down some, but I didn't. Okay, so see how this right here is kind of coming out? Doesn't look quite right to me. So I would just redo this real fast. It's funny, this is the same one this morning I had to redo. Okay, so once you get this wrapped, go around, check your wrap. Here's this side. Back. That side and the front. So go around, check your wrap. Make sure you have the protective cream or the barrier cream around the hairline is still good. Put your cotton on. I would grab my wave booster, resaturate all this hair. Place a cap over it, wait a few minutes, come back and do my test strand, see what it looks like. You know, if it didn't look ready, I would wrap this back up, rebag it. Take the cotton off after a few minutes because we don't want it to set saturated with solution on the client's skin. We don't want to cause any chemical burns. After it's completely processed, go back, rinse again with the shampoo bowl, towel blot, right? Check your rods, go like that. Make sure there's not a lot of water on them. Make sure they're not dripping. Just towel it with the towel. If that doesn't work, underneath the heated dryer till it's, you know, just damp. Now go ahead and place my neutralizer on, redo my cotton, place my neutralizer on, and then wait the 5 minutes. I would take them down and rinse it. Now we want to rinse it, right? We want to rinse for at least 5 minutes. Like every time we rinse, we want to rinse, and then rinse some more, and then rinse some more after that, and then, you know, go back through, maybe rinse it one more time. So we want to make sure that all of these chemicals are completely out of the hair. So 5 minutes when you're standing there too, rinsing someone's hair is a really, really long time. You'll just be like, oh my gosh, it's only been 2 minutes because you think you've been there for like 10. So, you know, watch a clock. I've even seen people set timers, which I was like, okay, setting a timer. But yeah, just rinse. And then, you know, if there's any finishing products that the manufacturers recommend, like maybe a pH balancer or something like that, a post-perm treatment, then you'll go ahead and do that. You know, you do whatever the manufacturer says for you to do with whatever brand that you're using. With this type of procedure, you're not going to dry the hair with like a blow dryer or a flat iron or anything like that because they want the curl, right? So you might add a little bit of product to it, or you might trim the ends and then put product in it, like a mousse or a gel or some type of a setting type of a product. And usually the manufacturers recommend that you don't shampoo it for 48 to 72 hours. So, you know, just let them know during that time, if they wake up and it's everywhere, you know, you can go ahead and get it wet. You just cannot use any shampoo to that hair for that amount of time. It takes that amount of time for those bonds that you've just reformed to like set. It needs to set in there and stay in there and make sure that it's like in there. So that's one of the things that a lot of people, I don't think they say that, you know. I don't think they tell their clients that, or a lot of people don't know that from what I found out lately. So just make sure that you read all the aftercare instructions also, because that's a big thing too. You want to get the best results you can.
Could you diffuse the hair if the client wanted to dry it?
You can. Yeah, they have, they have like those little cup diffusers that you could, put up in there. They have the ones that look like a hand, that you can put on there. There's several different types of diffusers. Just make sure that the diffuser that you're using is the right, recommended for that, recommended for like permed hair or recommended for natural hair. Because some of them, they say for like natural curly hair, and then some of them are for like just curled hair, so make sure that you know what you're using. There's a million different kinds of diffusers out there too. There's a lot. All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so what's our assignment for today?
Okay, so those of you that have the stuff to do the assignment for the day, it's relaxers. So you'll be doing a relaxer or perm. That's your assignment for those of you that have the kit.
A relaxer or perm?
Yeah, but you need to do 3, right? Because you've been here for 2 hours, so you need to do 3 hours. Oh yeah, just do it.
Do you do 3 perms?
You can do terms, yes. Do your rework to go with it, so you'll be getting 3 textures, okay? And just
Got it.
to go with it. Okay, do we have any other questions?
Oh yeah, and for yesterday, can I find that online too?
Yes. It should be in a text message sent to you.
I haven't been getting those messages.
All right, well, let me double check on that. Is it, make sure, and if no, if some of you are not getting the text messages, let me know so I can just double check on that. Let me make a note of this right now so I don't forget.
So that's it, class over, dismissed, done?
Well, no, I still have one more thing to say. You can do it in the chat box. You can chime in and tell me, but I want to know who learned something this week that they never knew before. So my top box that I see up here is Selena. So Selena, you want to chime in and tell me something that you never knew before? Selena? Hi, did you chat it in? Did you chat or did you unchat yourself? I mean, unmute yourself.
I thought I unmuted it, but maybe you didn't hear me.
Oh, I didn't. So, yes. Well, what did you say? What did you learn today that you never knew, or this week that you never knew before, or last week?
I actually didn't know that you could like reduce like natural curls. I had no idea that was like a process that you could do for like naturally curly hair. So that was pretty interesting.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks for sharing. Alexia, what you got? Alexa. All right, Cece, we'll come back to Alexa. Cece, you got something for me?
Oh, my bad. I'm right here.
Oh, okay, hold on. Alexa, what did you learn today or this week that you've never known before?
I learned that the little perm rollers have the holes in it, so the solution goes through. And I didn't realize that. I don't know why. It's such a simple thing, but I didn't realize that it did look like that.
It's okay. Sometimes some of the simplest things go right over my head, so that's just fine. Now we all know. Okay, thanks. Cece?
Yes, I like how you did 2 different perm rods, the sizes. I want to try that on somebody next. I've always done just one size, like, but I want to try 2 different sizes. That looks really cool.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Dawn even said I did it.
He would though. I love it.
Okay. Thanks, Cece. Amanda?
I didn't really know how to do any of it, but I thought it was cool, like learning like what you can't like do after you've already used like the sodium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's good. Good. Okay, Max. Max?
Yeah, I didn't know about the different sizes of the perm rods, like how big they had gotten or how big they would get.
Oh yeah, they get big. All right, that's cool. We're all learning something. Brianna?
Something that I learned, same with Selena, that you could reduce the curls.
The different curls? Okay, cool. Cassandra?
The different sizes of the rods, like the variety of sizes that they are.
Oh yeah, they're big, huh? Hopefully you all will change your mind about perms now that you see all the different ones that you can use. Okay, Eva.
I thought the same thing as Selena. I didn't know you could do that, like reduce your curls.
Yeah, cool. Jasmine.
What I thought was cool was like learning about the chemicals and like how there's a certain process for both of them, like they're not the same.
Oh yeah. Just wait, tomorrow we're gonna learn about some more chemicals too. But right now, those are the ones, basic ones. Okay, Jocelyn.
Okay.
Miss Connie. Oh shoot, I'm so sorry. I have to leave right now. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. All right, Jocelyn, what you got?
Kind of going off what Jasmine said, I knew that relaxers were a thing, but I didn't know like how different the chemicals would be overall.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of chemicals out there. I think it's fun to learn about all that stuff too. I like learning about all this stuff, obviously, right? Lorena.
I learned that there was like 4 basic relaxers, which I didn't know before.
Okay. Right. Natalie.
I learned that there's many types of relaxers.
Okay. Good. Catherine.
Sorry. I didn't really know any of it, so everything's kind of new.
Okay.
So like basically everything.
Okay, that's great. So you'll be learning. Don't feel overwhelmed because sometimes it gets that way. All right, Renee, what do you got? You have to unmute yourself, Renee. Renee. Oh my gosh. All right. Unmute yourself.
I learned nothing. I knew all of this already.
Oh my God. Oh, brother.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. No, okay. I did learn something. I'm going to repeat what everyone else said. The 2 different pronouns.
Yeah.
I already knew that. That was kind of new to me. And for not washing your hair with shampoo.
Ah, shampoo.
Like, I knew you could maybe rinse your hair for, 48 to 72 hours, but you can't use shampoo with that one.
Right. True. And most,
So, thank you for being a great teacher and teaching me stuff.
Well, thanks. Some manufacturers too may have a different time. So this is why it's always important that we have to read, the manufacturer's directions and follow them. Okay, Aubrey.
There are different types of basic relaxers.
Okay. Melissa?
One thing that I learned was that there's different methods of perming.
There is. All those different wraps, yes. Alicia?
This is all really new to me, so like I didn't know that there was different techniques on how to achieve a perm, like the block perm. I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, it's all brand new to some of us, so don't get overwhelmed, okay? You'll get it.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay. I remember my first week of beauty college, man. I was like, ah! Yeah, so I get it, but I remember that many moons ago. I still remember that, but it'll be fine. Peyton.
I knew kind of like most about like the perms and stuff like that, but I didn't really realize like how many like different relaxers there are, like perms. So that was kind of cool.
Okay, cool. Oh gosh, I kill your poor name all the time. I'm so sorry. Trihesia? I'm so sorry.
Same, the different type of perm methods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Yeah, there's a few. Nadia.
I would probably have to say that there's many ways to section the hair. There's not just one way, like there's multiple.
Yep. Angelina.
I've done like perms, but like everything besides chemicals. So I'd have to go with like everything new was about the chemical for me.
Okay. Great. Sally.
I mean, I've been here for a long time and you already taught me this, so I feel like I know like everything about it.
Oh, great. Okay. Alize.
One thing that I learned is that the steps before putting any chemicals or anything in the hair, you gotta like study the hair to make sure it's in proper condition.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a big one. All right. Catherine.
You already called me, but I'll say it again if you want.
Sorry, you box moved. You like square with your face moved. Okay, sorry, you don't have to answer again. Well, that's great. At least you guys all know something. And yes, I did ask about the kit. Lisa, I see that on there. They're ordered. We just got to wait for them to get here. You know, we don't have any control over shipping, so we're just waiting. Okay.
So we're not allowed to purchase our
Okay, go ahead.
we're not allowed to purchase our own because my mom really wants to buy me my own.
Oh, okay. Let me find this out. We'll call you on the phone, okay?
All right.
Okay, so yeah. All right, so great job, guys. We will see you tomorrow. We're gonna go actually over another type of relaxer too. There's still more, but wait, look, one of those commercials, huh? But wait, there's more, but wait, there's more. There's always more. Okay, so, but we're gonna go over a different type tomorrow. So you guys have a good evening, be safe, and we will see you tomorrow.